The soft rhythm of rain tapping against the cabin roof was the only sound that morning. Even now, I can remember it. The sharp scent of pine in the air, the muted hum of distant waves, and that uncanny stillness that felt as if time itself had exhaled and decided to rest. It was meant to be a quiet mother and son retreat, a small pause from the noise of life. But what happened in those mountains reshaped everything I believed about love, loss, and rediscovering who I was. My name is Grace. I'm 42. For most of my life, I've existed as someone's wife, someone's mother, never quite my own. My marriage to Daniel had become little more than routine. We shared walls, meals, even the same bed, but not our worlds. His mind was always elsewhere, buried in work, swallowed by screens. I told myself that this was normal after 20 years, but deep down, I knew I was fading, slowly, quietly, like an old photograph left too long in the sun. Then, one Friday afternoon, I came home to find my son, Ethan, waiting at the kitchen table, a gentle smile playing on his lips, one I hadn't seen in years. "Mom," he said, pushing a cup of tea toward me. "You look tired. You need a break." Before I could protest, he continued, calm but certain. "I booked us a cabin in the mountains, just a week. No phones, no work, just peace." I laughed, shaking my head. "Ethan, I can't just leave everything behind like that." But he met my eyes, those same clear blue eyes that once looked up at me from a crib. And I realized I couldn't say no. Days later, we wound through mountain roads, the world behind us shrinking with every turn. The cabin was small, perched on a hill above a forest that seemed to breathe. It smelled of cedar and rain. Through its wide window, the ocean stretched endlessly. The air was crisp, alive. For the first time in years, I felt my lungs fill completely. That evening, after unpacking, Ethan and I sat on the porch with steaming mugs, wrapped in blankets as the last gold light bled into the sea. The world around us felt still, sacred. "You know," he said softly, his eyes on the fading horizon, "I can't remember the last time I saw you smile like that." His words hung between us, warm and fragile. I hadn't even realized I was smiling. And for the first time in what felt like forever, it wasn't forced. It was real. The next morning, the smell of coffee pulled me from sleep. Ethan stood in the kitchen, hair tousled, wearing a flannel shirt that reminded me of his father's younger days. "Morning, Mom," he said, handing me a cup. "Less sugar, more milk, right?" My chest tightened. He remembered. Breakfast was simple. Eggs, toast, laughter that didn't feel rehearsed. When we opened the curtains, sunlight spilled through like something holy, wrapping the wooden walls in gold. Later, we walked along the beach. The sand was cool beneath our feet, the ocean calm and endless. We talked about his life, his plans, his quiet dreams. Then, his voice softened. "Mom, you've been lonely, haven't you?" The truth pressed heavy in my chest. "Yes," I whispered. "But not because no one was there. It's because I forgot how to be me." He didn't speak, just took my hand. That simple touch was enough. For the first time in years, I felt seen. Not as a wife, not as a mother, but as a woman rediscovering the pulse of her own heart. That night, as rain returned, we lit a fire. The flames danced across the cabin walls as we played cards. I kept losing, but I didn't care. Ethan's laughter filled the room like music. "You're too easy to read, Mom," he teased between chuckles. Then softly, "That's what makes you beautiful." I smiled, pretending not to feel the warmth that rose inside me. Not romantic, just profoundly human. To be seen, truly seen, was a feeling I had almost forgotten. When he went to bed, I stayed by the window, watching the rain slide down the glass. My reflection looked alive again. I reached for an old notebook I hadn't opened in years. The pages smelled like time itself. And then I began to write. I don't know where this road leads, but for the first time, I'm ready to walk it. The days that followed stitched me back together. We hiked misty trails, cooked simple meals, stayed up late talking about the people we were becoming. I began to see my son not as the boy I'd raised, but as a man, kind, grounded, deeply intuitive. In his eyes, I saw every version of myself I thought I'd lost. On the 5th day, the sky finally cleared, a brilliant stretch of blue above glassy waves. "Come on, Mom," Ethan called, laughing from the shore. "Let's get in the water." I shook my head. "I'm too old for that." He grinned. "No one's ever too old to start again." Something inside me cracked open, so I ran, into the cold surf, into the light, into life. The waves hit my legs. I screamed, laughed, felt the years fall away. Ethan's voice echoed across the shore. "That's my mom." And for once, I didn't hold anything back. That evening, as the sun sank into the horizon, we sat side by side on the porch, silence wrapping around us like a soft blanket. "Mom?" Ethan asked quietly. "When you were my age, what did you want most in life?" I smiled. "To write, to travel, to feel alive." "Then why'd you stop?" I stared into my cup. "Because I thought love meant giving everything away." I paused. I was wrong. He reached over, resting his hand over mine. "Then maybe it's time to take it back."